Run, river, run, run through the hills. Run, river, run to the sea. Run, river, run to your place beneath the sun. Run, river, run over me.
Hi, this is Jan Lewis. Welcome to Be My Guest. Welcome back. And we have back Ann Tisdell. She's probably just about our resident famous painter. Welcome back, Ann. She's adopted us, and we're adopting her. So there. She does the most wonderful paintings. And I like how she mixes things, like the funky fun with the beautiful realism and that type of thing. So there's something for everybody. And she's got a lot of exhibits in the past, going on and coming up. Welcome back, Ann.
Well, thank you for having me.
She's going to show us. I told her bring some more with you this time. So she's brought some more with us. How is it up in Webster? You're in Webster.
Yes.
Yeah. And do you come down Joe Jenny Road to Central Turnpike?
Yes.
That's how have you noticed how Central Turnpike improved their...
Yes.
Yeah. We nearly broke our car on that the first time we went up there. Ooh. But it was done fast.
Yeah.
Next time it was done.
Yeah.
Joe Jenny Road is the next one that they really should put the money into.
They are.
They are?
Yes.
Oh my God. Well, anyway, so before we forget, May 2023, the art exhibit at the Pearl L. Crawford Library, 40 Schofield Avenue in Dudley, Through the Artist's Lens, Alluring Scenic Paintings. And this is what Ann is doing. Library hours, Monday, Thursday, 10 to 8 p.m., Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, 10 to 5, Saturday, 10 to 2, and Sunday closed. Location, Fells Community Room, first floor. And I think I might have been in that long ago with a author client. I'm not sure. I invite you to enjoy viewing my art in the comfortable space at this library. Please sign the guest book and leave your comments about what you enjoyed most. And now, we're going to be having these flyers up in our new Upton beautiful new library building, community center. And so you can just walk down that little hall and read about it if you didn't get it the first time or so. And coming up June 2023 in the program room at the Gale Free Library, right? Yeah, the Gale Library in Dudley, right?
No. Gale Library in Holden.
In Holden. The Pearl L. Crawford Library in Dudley and in Holden. And you are going to have, it's going to be in the program room, and she will have her next exhibit there. And is it going to be all of June?
Yes,
It'll
all of June.
Where did you see some of the newest you brought with us today? Brought to us. It's let's go looking at. Go ahead. Let's start seeing what you got.
All right. Well, all of these are currently on exhibit at the Pearl Crawford Library in Dudley, but some of these will also be up in Holden. And what they've decided to do is link some of the things with some of the paintings that I have, as far as having the librarians having reading material available for children.
Yeah.
And displays. So the parents can inquire about reading material that would be good.
Ann's paintings are for all ages. I mean, your children, adults, teens. She covers it all.
So the part that they were really intrigued by was endangered animals. So this is a Sumatran tiger. It's critically endangered. And you may be saying, well, why is this animal critically endangered? The biggest reason for most animals that are either endangered or critically endangered, or if they're threatened or vulnerable, has to do with loss of habitat. Why loss of habitat? Because there are forests that are cleared from the lands. So big cats such as this tiger live in forest lands. And such as the orangutan, they also need to have a tree canopy to be in. So in Sumatra and Borneo, because orangutans are in Borneo, they need to have the tree canopy for their protection and also to take care of their babies. And orangutans are extremely intelligent.
That tiger, right? The Sumatran tiger. You know, over at
these are in Indonesia. Sumatra is part of Indonesia.
Over at the Southwick Zoo. Have you been there? they've got this guy over there. Paul, I think we saw him over there. You call it a Sumatran tiger, right?
Right.
I know. Actually, when I look at this tiger long enough, he reminds me of a friend I have, and I don't have a real person. There's something about the eyes looking right at you. That's pretty cool. How long did it take you to do that?
This one, I was very finicky about the details because I wanted to get it right.
Yeah.
So I would say that this one took me about a month and a half.
Oh, yeah. I love the way you've got his beard, his hair there. Yeah, that's
Right.
really, really cool.
So really beautiful animal, but critically endangered.
Yeah, for sure. We're talking with Ann Tisdell, one of her favorite resident painters on Be My Guest. And she's got another one.
This is also another acrylic.
Oh, I love that.
And this is an endangered snow leopard.
Can you see it okay? You got it? Okay.
And they're native to the Himalayas,
Yeah.
primarily. Very beautiful, solitary animals. They manage to get together to mate, and they either have one or two cubs. And they're beautiful, beautiful animals. But again, it's the same thing. Habitat loss is what really puts this animal in an endangered
Where do they live
situation.
again, usually?
In the Himalayas.
In the Himalayas. Because I noticed, like, snow. It's like snow. That cat looks like the body and the tail section and the tail of my cat at home. They do. The way they go up like that?
But they have very long tails because they are on hilly terrain,
Yeah.
so they have to have the long tail as a counterbalance.
Oh, yeah. Beautiful picture. I love the way you did. It's like the ice and the snow are on the water, on the ice. Yeah. Beautiful.
Well, one of my art teachers from Worcester Art Museum emailed me and said, if I didn't know better, I would have thought I did this painting.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
And, I really did do the painting. But
Yeah. Definitely. Oh, here comes, I think, the butterfly. Is that a monarch?
This is a monarch butterfly,
Yeah.
which has just been classified as vulnerable / endangered.
Why?
I think 2024 they're going to get classified as endangered. Why, you may ask? The same reason. Habitat loss, plus the places that used to have milkweed, because the caterpillars of the monarch butterfly feed on milkweed. And again, many places, woodlands and such, have been cleared so that there's no more milkweed.
But we have milkweed here.
Well, that might be the case in some areas of New England, but not all.
Wow.
So
Is that a moth or a baby?
this is a painted lady butterfly, and this particular species is not endangered. However, this one is a very remarkable one because they have been known to migrate all the way from Africa up to the Arctic.
Wonder why they want to go that far.
Well, they're seen in many, many different countries.
Yeah.
They're very beautiful as well.
They're popular. What
And
is
so
the purple behind them? The plant work or?
This is a butterfly bush, and that's what they like to feed on. So I'm going to digress a little bit. This monarch butterfly, I participated in a project called the Mosaic Mural, and it is, if you want to look it up online, all you have to look for is globalroots.com, and this is a worldwide project where they are establishing connections with artists all over the world to participate in these mosaics. So the paintings are 6 by 6 squares.
Really?
And I did a monarch butterfly on a butterfly bush
Yeah.
for this project. This mosaic mural is now installed in the Bronx, New York, and there are thousands of tiles that make up the image.
At the zoo, the Bronx Zoo?
No, not the Bronx Zoo.
The library?
St. Vincent's University
Aha.
at Riverside.
Yep.
and that's where it's installed.
Yeah.
So I have a tile number 336,
Yeah.
and you can actually, Google this and see where the northeast mosaic mural is located, and they give you the whole illustration of what the proposed image was, and then they assigned each of the artists a particular color palette to work in so that they would be able to assemble these pictures.
Is it a real tile you're working with? A tile?
It's a square canvas type of thing.
Okay, so a canvas like... Okay.
So it's not mosaic in the sense of porcelain or like
No.
what you would put into a tile bathroom.
Right.
But it's a canvas type of square
Yeah.
that each artist will paint whatever it is that they want, and but it has to be in the recommended color scheme to fit into the plan of the mural.
You know what you would enjoy, Anne? You know Grafton.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's right. Grafton is in their new library a couple of years now, and a number of years ago, before they moved there, they asked people if they would like to. It would be about a canvas square about this big. Design anything you want, and then eventually it'll go into a community quilt. I did it, and finally it's up, and it is. Everybody's got a different sense of artwork, and if you ever get to Grafton Library, take a look. It's pretty big. I didn't even. I'm like a
I've
mother.
done something like that.
Oh my God! I didn't even
Yeah.
recognize mine because I have so many different styles.
Right.
It was like a mother not recognizing her baby's crying. Oh.
So
Oh, look at
this next endangered, and I'm going to say critically endangered animal,
Anteater?
it's a pangolin.
Pangolin.
And there are 8 different species of pangolin.
Yeah.
There were 4 of them in Asia, there were 4 of them in Africa. And they are poached for their keratin scales.
Oh.
So these scaly things that they have on their bodies to protect them, they use in many of the folk medicines in Asia, particularly,
Do
and
they
Africa.
kill him when they scale him?
Oh, yes. They kill them, and now the meat is considered a delicacy. So in the last 10 years,
Yeah.
they estimate, and it's probably an underestimation, they have trafficked over 1 million pangolins. These animals are important because they are what they call a scaly anteater. So they eat termites and ants and other things that can be kind of pesty in some places. They like to live in grasslands. They make burrows, or they live in trees that are hollow. And they're very solitary, sweet animals. I saw a special on PBS on a pangolin that was living with a scientist in Africa.
Oh,
And she
like a
did
pet? Like a pet?
well, not really a pet. The pangolin went in and out of her house as it wanted.
Yeah.
But, they did a lot of research on this pangolin.
Yeah.
And she actually went to Southeast Asia to study the pangolins there. So, anyways, these are a very sweet animal
Yeah.
that is really
It looks like,
endangered.
to me, a combination of an anteater and an aardvark. Kind of a...
No, not you're thinking of an armadillo.
Yeah.
But it's not the same as an armadillo.
No.
But these, when they're threatened, they curl up into a ball, and these scaly pieces of keratin, they can sway their tail back and forth, and they're sharp,
Yeah.
so that they can injure the predator that's coming after them.
We're talking with Ann Tisdell. Ann, how can people reach you?
You can reach me at my email, atisdell, TISDELL, @gmail.com.
Don't be shy. And if you would like to have her maybe do an exhibit at some place you know coming up in the fall or whatever, you're so busy, don't be shy. Connect with her, really. And what's your online site? Did you give your online site for your artwork?
No, I don't have a website.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay, this is the most...
Oh, that looks like my boy cat.
This is the most critically endangered animal in the world,
The leopard.
the Amur leopard.
Amur leopard.
And the Amur leopard, AMUR, lives in Russia and China.
Oh.
And again, many of these animals are trapped and trafficked for their fur.
Yeah.
And so many of them, they're not able to reproduce. So the more of them that get killed,
Yeah.
they aren't able to repopulate.
What a sweet face you did on that cat. Oh, he does. He looks... You know, they say that our cats are related way, way back when.
Oh, absolutely.
Didn't our cats come from Egypt, Ann?
They were worshipped in Egypt.
Okay. Yeah.
And you would be put to death if you seriously injured a cat. They were revered in Egyptian culture.
Sounds like our male cat. If you don't absolutely adore me, I will kill you. Oh, a koala.
All right, so a few years back, if you recall, there was terrible, terrible fires, again, probably secondary to climate change in Australia. Climate change is not something that just happens in one section of the world. It's happening all over. So eucalyptus trees are the koala's main source of nourishment, and they also have very high oil content, the leaves do. So what happened when those fires started, the oil acted as an accelerant for the fires. So they lost many of their groves of eucalyptus trees,
Yeah.
and many of the animals perished. So now the koala is endangered.
So many of us, I don't even knew that. We just figure they're in Australia and they're fine, and we have them sometimes in a zoo. We never think they're endangered.
They are endangered. So,
That's a beautiful picture.
but it's a koala that's caught in the fires in Australia.
Oh, it's got a baby with it. I just
Yes.
recognized the dark. It's a mama koala.
It's a mama koala, and this is fire
Yeah.
all around this koala.
And yeah, you've got does that little slip of paper describe what that was, just what you were just telling us about?
It's just the title of the work. But again, I want people to be aware
Yeah.
that there are things going on that are making many of these unusual species that make up the whole matrix of life here on this planet to keep it in balance. And you lose any particular species, it may cause a whole ecosystem to suffer.
Well, with all these homes and these yuppie huts and everything being built, we've had a moose on our front lawn. We've had a bear crossing the street. Of course, deer, bunny rabbits. You know, it's like living in the wild, and they're just coming forward now.
Okay, this is a polar bear.
Can you see that? Can they? Okay, it's beautifully done in light colors. That's a mama with two babies.
Correct. Now, you may think, well, a polar bear is an apex predator. That's true. However, with global warming, what has happened is many of these bears would hunt on the sea ice, and their primary target are seals. And so when they had the sea ice, they would be able to migrate great distances
Yeah.
without having to swim. But now with all the glaciers and the sea ice melting earlier in the season, they don't get their babies strong enough and fattened up enough to be able to withstand the temperatures in the water, number one,
Yeah.
and also being able to swim the distances. So polar bears are in trouble. They're very vulnerable, and they're probably going to be shortly be classified as endangered.
I think up in Worcester at the there was a zoo up in. They had a beautiful polar bear. I think it passed away. I'm not sure, but I love bears. Anyway, oh, I love bears.
So, I understand that they are apex predators, but again, if you have an apex predator wiped out,
Yeah.
then there are other forms of species that overpopulate.
Yeah.
So, there's a whole balance in nature. So this will be part of the exhibit.
And tell everybody again where you're going to appear. I have it here, but share again with people.
Okay, I'm currently having an exhibit at the Pearl L. Crawford Library in Dudley, Massachusetts at 40 Schofield Avenue. And this exhibit will be up until May 30th. The exhibit will be coming down in probably the afternoon of May 30th. And Jan already read all the library hours, and they're also available online. And then some of these paintings will be going up to the exhibit that I'm doing for the month of June in Holden, Massachusetts at the Gale Free Library. And that will be for the whole month. And that will be in the community room, program room, on the second floor.
And it's a solo exhibit, it's just Anne.
Yes, I think I'm their first exhibit where they have a solo artist.
How many of your pictures will you have up there?
Well, at the Pearl Crawford Library, I had 50.
Oh, yeah.
The space isn't big enough to accommodate that many. I hoped that it would probably I'd be able to do that, but I'm going to have to scale it down. They wanted me to provide images so that they would be able to link topical information through the library with the librarians, with parents and children. So I sent them images of the endangered animals because that seems to interest children a great deal. So there will be a number of endangered animals, and I should note I have one more acrylic painting to show you that I finished fairly recently, and this is emperor penguins with chicks.
Mom and Dad, right?
Mom
With
and
the baby.
Dad.
Yeah.
They are monogamous. The male stays on the nest while Mama penguin goes out and gets enough food for the trio.
She goes to the supermarket. Yeah. He
Yeah.
just kind of sits on the nest.
He just kind of sits
He just
on the
kind of
nest.
lazy around. Okay.
But I just saw that these animals are going to be reclassified to threatened or maybe vulnerable. So with the process of endangerment, you start off first with being protected, then being threatened, then being vulnerable, then being endangered, then being critically endangered, and then extinction. So they're having issues again because of the glaciers melting, and they're not able to get the same kind of nourishment that they got before. So I'm surmising that maybe the survival rate with some of their chicks isn't the same.
Look at his furries. Are they usually kind of furry? The baby's like kind of a gray?
Yeah, they're gray, and they've got a lot of downy layers underneath that helps them retain heat.
How do they, now, do they do the same thing as, like a lot, they live in, how do I put this gently? Do they nurse with their mama like other animals or
No, they don't.
She feeds them fish, right?
She feeds them, she regurgitates fish that she's ingested.
Like a lot of our birds. They just
Yes.
throw it up again and the baby eats it.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's how they feed them.
And they are monogamous. These two don't get divorced. These two penguins, they stay together like swans. I heard swans.
Swans are monogamous, as are Canada geese.
That's really fascinating. It's a little different with kitty cats. You've got a trail-in sales cat or two going by, and you've got a lady cat that would like to get married. Whoa.
Now I'm doing something rather unconventional.
Uh-oh.
I have an unframed piece of art that I just finished today. It is a watercolor,
Yeah.
and this is also another endangered animal.
Oh, my God.
And this is the African elephant.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think I need to tell you that African elephants are being hunted and poached as trophy animals.
Yeah.
And also they want the tusks, the
Yep.
ivory, because they use that for jewelry and other kinds of products.
Doesn't it bring in a lot of money for these poachers?
Yes.
Yeah. Did you use some chalk too in it, or is it all watercolor?
No, this is all watercolor.
You didn't sketch it. You did.
I
Yeah.
sketch it out, definitely.
Look at that. You've got the grass just perfectly around it.
So, I want to put in a pitch not only for African elephants, and many children love elephants,
Yeah.
but also giraffes, because giraffes are now being poached as well.
Giraffes, really?
Yes.
We've got a bunch of them at Southwick Zoo. I didn't know they were being poached. Why?
Because it's profitable.
But what on a giraffe is profitable? They don't have tusks.
They don't have tusks,
No.
but they have the ossicles up here.
Oh, the little horns.
Yes.
And are those ivory like the...
No, they aren't ivory, but I'm surmising that they're probably used in some sort of folk medicine treatment.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Are they... Okay, so for, let's say, people who aren't into folk medicine, they would poach them for what reason? Just cash? Is
Yeah.
that... Oh, my God. Oh.
And I'm sure that they eat the meat of the giraffe as well.
So you just finished that this morning,
Yes.
May 17th, I think.
So this is hot off the
The
drawing
presses.
board.
And can they, are you, if somebody would like to have you do some pictures and as gifts in their family, are you up for that too?
Oh yes, I've done portraits of people's pet dogs, pet cats.
Mm-hmm.
I've done portraits of my own cats.
How did you get so beautifully interested in this climate change and these animals who are endangered? What grabbed your attention about this?
I've watched a lot over the last few decades, and I'm sure you mentioned that I grew up in Swampscott, Massachusetts, which is on the north shore of Boston. And there were beaches all around the region that I went to all the time as a child.
Yeah.
And we always had nice sandy beaches. Well, guess what, folks?
Mm.
With ocean rise, because of the melting glaciers, there's no more sandy beaches, because every time the water is at high tide,
Mm-hmm.
it's right up to the seawall.
And people living on Swampscott and there's a huge storm, there goes the cottage.
Well,
Right?
they don't have things right on the edge of the water.
Yeah.
And you do have the seawall, but they have a lot of street flooding that we never used to have in the past,
Yeah.
except when it was a really bad nor'easter.
Which is the place that gets hit the hardest? Gloucester? Or who gets hit the hardest?
I think Situate does.
Situate. You see it on the news, like,
Yes,
I mean, you're looking at these
Situate.
houses and they're like this close to, you know.
They've also had a lot of shoreline loss up in Plum Island, up around the Newburyport region.
Yeah.
Again, it's the same thing. It has to do with erosion of the beaches.
Yeah.
It's hard to repatriate the seagrasses and everything else, because those get all torn to shreds with these really violent storms.
And were you a teacher?
I taught in nursing,
Yeah.
Briefly.
Yeah.
and I did teach childbirth classes when I was in...
were you like a doula? For,
no, not a doula.
No.
I was a registered nurse, and I
Alright,
was
yeah.
a nurse practitioner.
Yeah.
So I did teach that.
Oh. I tell a lot of the girls, take the epidural. Don't be a fool. Because it was... Once I had that, clear sailing. Thank you. I know we're getting the high sign here from Paul. Thank you for being with us, and I'm sure she'll be back with us again. And one more time, how can they reach you?
You can reach me at atisdell@gmail.com. And I'm happy to do artwork for people by request.
I think that's really awesome. You've seen her work now. You've been with us for 4 or 5 times maybe now?
I'd say 5.
Yeah, she's very... You know, you don't know what's coming. I like that. And it just appeals to all ages. I especially like that face of that... what was it again? Leopard. The little leopard there?
The armor leopard.
Almost with a smiley face. All right. I know. I'm getting the high sign. Leave it go. We'll see her again. Take care. Be my guest.
Riding on a shooting star, heading out toward a dream. Tomorrow's even closer than it seems.